Alrighty, I am here with Miss Honey, and obviously I have her on the treadmill. She's been on here, this is her first time. She's been on here for just over 11 minutes. And she's doing pretty good actually, and this is something she really needs. She's kind of a stubborn, resistant dog, and the worst thing about her is it's like Groundhog Day over and over and over with her. She does really well, she'll sit 100 times for you, and 101 she'll look at you like she has zero idea what you're talking about and make no intention of doing what you want her to do. So I have her on the treadmill mainly. I know she's going to get some exercise here, but mainly it's because she needs to have a little bit of an attitude adjustment, I do believe. So we like to put dogs on the treadmill for that, for the attitude adjustment and for the mental adjustments, because it's very, very beneficial. Like I just had Einstein on there, and he did about 30 minutes. And I have him on there basically for the same thing. And it's because he's a very fearful dog and resists 100% all the time. Well, when he's on the treadmill, he can resist all he wants, but the treadmill is just going to keep going. And initially, I should say, that is what Honey tried, but again, the treadmill just doesn't care. So they catch on pretty darn quick, and they get moving along. Sometimes, yeah, some dogs are a little bit more of a struggle than others. But actually, overall, Honey did fairly well. I was kind of surprised. And then little Einstein, he's just laying here, hanging out in place like he should be. And normally, because he's such a fearful guy, this is something he didn't want to do. You approach him or anything, and he would want to run away. He would dart. He would take off. But he's learning accountability for the command, and he needs to remain there, and he needs to stay there. And a lot of people struggle with this, but I'm going to tell you, it's one of the best things when you have a very fearful dog, is that we do have him on e-collar. We taught him everything we wanted him, to know: the sit down place, walk with me, threshold, crate stuff, all that. And then we are overlaying that with the e-collar, because the e-collar takes away the physical pressure, the physical connection. And when you have a fearful dog, a little bit of a pop on the leash or anything like that, it can send them into overdrive. They can really freak out. So the e-collar takes that away, and it causes them to think. They have to wonder, what the heck is going on? And so they're a lot more willing, it seems like, to give in and to do what they need to do. And then, he gets off the cot, I can just give him stimulation. I don't have to approach him. I don't have to yell at him or anything like that, so that he learns, I just got to stay here. No one's really making me, but something's making me. I don't know what it is. And then, of course, eventually, it's used less and less. But for a dog like him, and especially a dog, all three of the dogs we got here right now, they will need e-collar work for quite some time, because of their mental, because of how they are. They're stubborn, resistant. They don't want to do what they need to do. And Einstein's just fearful and wants to escape and run away. So the e-collar is extremely beneficial for him. And then we have this guy over here, Mr. Snapple. He's just a real slow, lazy kind of dog. He doesn't really like to do a whole lot. Just hang out. Mainly he likes to, lay around and sleep, but he just finished up doing some work, so he's huffing and puffing it here. And normally I would want the dog laying down and relaxing, but He needs to kind of sit up, I do believe, so he can get cooled off and get his breath going a little bit. It takes him quite a while. We only work him for maybe like 15, 20 minutes at a time, and that's about all he can handle. But he's also on e-collar, and for him, it's like you ask him to do something, and he'll do it, but then he pretends to have Groundhog Day, but he knows exactly what he's doing. He's just being stubborn. So we can use the e-collar to hold them accountable, get them to do what we need to do. But again, we teach them first, and then we put the e-collar on them. A lot of people will use the tools in such a wrong way, and that's why people have issues, and then a lot of other folks say they don't work or they're bad for your dog. And it mainly is just because the people using them don't know what they're doing or how to use them properly. A lot of people, especially like the e-collar, they just put it on the dog when the dog's having problems, and then they correct the dog for the bad behaviors. Well, that will kind of work, might stop the dog from bad behaviors, but it ain't going to teach your dog anything. No matter what tool you are using, you still have to do the training. I've never seen a tool that trains for you. They are just communication devices to help you get, good results, the best results you can in a period of time. Like these guys are, they've been here just a little over a week, Einstein and Snapple. Miss Honey, she just came in Saturday, so she's only been here, I don't know, whatever that is. Today's Wednesday, 4 or 5 days, something like that. Usually the first day we don't really do much with them at all, but Honey came in and she was something, so we started immediately working and going with her. And then Mr. Snapple, the day he came in right away, we had to correct him because he was carrying on, acting out, trying to get Mr. Einstein. So he got in trouble for that immediately. So he started learning that not a place to do that, and that it's not a good idea to be doing those kinds of things. He does okay now. I move them all by Einstein and everything. They walk by him and all that, but we do not let them loose out together. We found that out really quick because we had this guy out and we had 3, 4, or 5 of the other dogs, and then we bought Einstein out, and Mr. Snapple went absolutely berserk, and it was quite the show. But we got things situated real quick, took care of issues, and Snapple learned that it's not such a good idea to do that. And really Einstein had no idea what was going on. He had no idea. So here we go, Mr. or Mrs. Honey. She's kind of stumbling around there. She's been on the treadmill now for just 19 minutes and 21 seconds. So she's getting there. I'm going to try to let her go somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. This is her first time on there. She needs, definitely needs some kind of attitude adjustment. So the treadmill helps me get that because the dogs are resistant. And again, the treadmill, it just doesn't care. It's good to keep moving as long as it's on. And the dog's got to keep moving, got to keep going. So it does help to change them mentally. Mr. Einstein, he's doing all right. He's kind of got his leash wrapped around here because he got off. He got a no and a correction, and he jumped back on the cot, but now he's got his leash turned around. And that's something we do always in the beginning, is once we teach a dog place and down and all that stuff, and then we start leaving them out. In the beginning, we have him on leash and back tied. He's hooked up to this little clip onto the kennel, and he's not going to be able to move that kennel. You got to make sure whatever you back tie your dog to, that it is heavy enough that they cannot move, because if they can move it, it's going to freak them out, and they're going to take off and run even harder and faster, and that's going to keep going, and it can be pretty crazy situation if you don't tie your dog off to something heavy or something that they cannot move. And Einstein right here can drag this cot across the floor. I didn't think he could, but yeah, he proved me wrong pretty quick. So always after we teach everything, we start having the dogs out. They get back tied when they are out. Even Snapple, he's tied off to the stools here. And, you know, of course, yeah, they can get off the cot, but they only can go so far. It ain't like they could take off. I could imagine if I didn't do this, they're all going to be running around. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with their dogs is they never put them on leash unless they're going to walk them. The whole training period, until you're really comfortable and your dog's dependable, your dog should be on leash, even in the house, until you don't need it. And if you're having issues, it's obvious you need to do that. Train your dog on leash. When your dog is out, laying around, back tie them so that they don't need to be up on you. You know, so once the dogs learn these kinds of things, then they get more freedom. They can hang out like the dogs are out here. When they first came in, you know, they spend a good 5 days, 4 or 5 days, a lot of time inside the crate. And now the only time they're in the crate is obviously when we're gone, or we can't supervise 100%, or they're eating or sleeping. That's the only time they're in the crate. Otherwise, the only time they're ever out is if we are working with them, they're getting bathroom breaks, or we're giving them some free time. So we follow what our rules are, and we find it to be really helpful and beneficial to the dogs and humans' lives with their dogs. So take the time, do what you need to do, help your dog along, teach them. Don't think you just got to bring a dog in and oh voila, here we go, because it doesn't work that way, I will guarantee you. And again, you know, all these dogs, all 3 of these dogs are learning the same things, but how Snapple got there, how Einstein got there, and how Honey is getting there, they're all going to do the same thing, and they're all doing the same things, but they're all kind of taking different crooked paths. And that's unfortunately the way it goes. If you try to stay straight line, this is how the dog's got to do it, it will be a challenge not only for the dog, but for you.